Alright, so let's take a look at this particular example where we are trying to solve an equation involving algebraic fractions yet again. So in the past couple of videos, we've been looking at how we simplify algebraic expressions involving algebraic fractions and the various operations, and we've also looked at how we solve equations involving algebraic fractions. So let's take a look at this particular question here, and I want you all to take note of the fact that on the left-hand side of the equation, we have an expression which needs some sort of simplification before we actually start to solve the equation. So there are a couple of ways you can approach this. I'm going to go the way of trying to simplify what's on the left hand side and then trying to go through the approach of solving for the unknown. So here I'm going to start off by finding my LCM because I want to find the sum of these two fractions, and I notice that my denominators are 5 and 10, so they're different. And my LCM here, I'm going to find the LCM of 5 and 10, which happens to be 10. So from here now, let's express the fractions as equivalent fractions out of this common denominator of 10. And what I'm going to get here is 6x plus 2x minus 5. And now I'm putting the 2x minus 5 in brackets just because I want to make sure that I remember it's the entire numerator together still. And the reason I'm doing this, it's just out of habit, because there are some times when you're working out these types of problems and you have to remember these signs because you have directed numbers involved. So once I do this piece, I'm going to simplify the numerator on the left hand side here, and then I will attempt to decide what I'm going to do to solve. So here I notice I have 6x and 2x, so I'm going to put my like terms together, and this gives me 8x. Now in my expression here, I have minus 5. There aren't any other constants in the numerator, so I'll just remain with 8x minus 5 in the numerator, my denominator of 10, and then I have x plus 1 on the right hand side. Now I want to solve the equation, and in order for me to do this, I need to take the approach of cross multiplication. So I'm going to write this as a rational expression where my denominator for the expression on the right side is going to be 1, and then from here we're going to utilize that concept of cross multiplication. So we'll have in the next line 8x minus 5 multiplied by 1, which just leaves us with 8x minus 5. And then on the right side, we're going to have 10 times x plus 1. Now the expression that we have over on the right side here needs expansion using distributive law, and this will give me 10x plus 10. Now obviously we want to solve for x, so we need to regroup, bring all those like terms together. So let's get all the terms in x together on one side, and my preference is usually to put the terms with x on the side where the coefficient is going to be positive for most of it. So I'm going to move the 8x over onto the other side, and I'll have minus 5 minus 10, because I'm putting my positive 10 over on the other side because I want all my like terms together, right? I just want to regroup in this step basically. I just want to regroup in this step. So at this point, I'll have minus 5 minus 10 is equal to 10x minus 8x, and we simplify now, leaving us with minus 15 on the left and 2x on the right. I want to solve for x, so my final step, divide both sides by 2, and I will get that x is equal to minus 15 over 2. And we have the option, you could write it as a mixed number if you like, as a decimal if you like, but the important thing is that you have utilized the process properly and you have gotten to this point where you have a value for x. So this is some of the scenarios that you may stumble across when you are working on solving equations involving algebraic fractions. Remember, the idea here is to always pay attention to the operations, pay attention to the terms, identify whether or not you have like terms, if you have different terms, and once you're able to remember how we do the simplification process with the arithmetic operations and the basics for solving for unknowns in equations, you'll be able to solve absolutely any problem involving algebraic fractions.